Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fam tapping in yet again, man. We are back in the building, and if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of figure out for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, put on your thinking cap because this can get kind of weird. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Most people think tracking a phone requires hacking into it or installing some kind of spyware, but there is a much easier way, and it has been around for decades. It is called Signaling System 7, and it is how mobile networks around the world talk to each other. Every time your phone connects to a new cell tower, it updates your location. And with access to Signaling System 7, someone can request that location without you ever knowing. They do not need access to your phone, your apps, or even your permissions. Governments use it, private companies sell access to it, and cybercriminals exploit it. All of this happens behind the scenes, built right into the system that makes global communication possible.
What if I told you that deep within the world's most exclusive dining halls, beyond the Michelin-starred restaurants and private estates, there exists a secret delicacy reserved only for the ultra-elite? A dish so rare, so forbidden, that even speaking of it in certain circles could get you permanently silenced. They call it Nix's Delight, a dish whispered about in coded conversations, traded like folklore among chefs who have long since abandoned morality for the lure of the unimaginable. The main ingredient? Mermaid flesh. The mermaids? They're not caught by accident. There are boats, hunting vessels, equipped with tech that isn't supposed to exist. They use sonar pulses that mimic mermaid calls, drawing them to the surface, confused, vulnerable. And then, the nets come up. But these aren't normal nets, they're lined with barbs that inject a paralytic venom. No thrashing, no fighting, just silence. Once captured, they're transported in blacked-out tanks, kept alive until the moment they're needed. The ultra-wealthy don't want fishy mermaid meat. They want it fresh, still warm, still pulsing. And the way it's prepared? It's not just cooking, it's a ritual. Only a handful of chefs in the world even know how to work with it. The flesh resists the knife like it knows what's happening. The most valuable part? A glowing strip along the spine called the siren's veil. Eaten raw, it's said to give hallucinations of the ocean's deepest, darkest places, things no human was ever meant to see. And then there's the final course, the part that really messes people up. A pearl-sized organ found only in the oldest mermaids.
And I know the video definitely had to be some sort of CGI, but at the same time, the parts and pieces of that whole thing seemed kind of factual as far as like what they were talking about. Yeah, let me know what you think.
They're eating the mermaids. Just when we thought things could get weirder, this guy just came out and said that he was invited to an A-list celebrity party where they were not only serving up mermaid, but after he decided to reject and leave, he found a whole cooler of them. Apparently, this is nothing new because Cantinflas was one of the first celebs to build an island for them after he made a deal.
Go into your Apple calendar and scroll to October 1582. Don't ask, just do it. And tell me what's going on.
I thought it was some clickbait until I actually went and looked. Now that's pretty wild. I'll even put a pic of it in the community section. It's pretty crazy.
What if they are programming us through their programs? 3 Days of Darkness prophecy describes 3 days of total darkness where the sun and the moon disappear. Evil spirits are unleashed and cause chaos and destruction. You have to stay inside your house during those 3 days. The only light that you can find is from blessed candles that are providing light. You are warned to stay inside, to lock your doors, avoid looking outside, because you're going to see stuff that you don't want to see. So this may sound crazy and fantastical, but Hollywood has repeatedly explored these same themes, these same parallels to the 3 Days of Darkness. Now, one of my favorite movies that echoes the 3 Days of Darkness almost perfectly, besides the actual darkness, is the 2007 movie The Mist, which has the most horrifying ending you could possibly imagine. A mysterious fog blankets the town, hiding deadly creatures inside the fog, or the mist. People are forced to stay indoors to survive, a direct parallel to the prophecy's warnings. You have to stay inside, don't go outside, or you're not going to make it. 2018's Bird Box, the Sandra Bullock movie, unseen entities drive people to madness and death if seen. Survivors must blindfold themselves and stay inside, also echoing the prophecy's cautions. The 2008 movie The Happening with Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, another unseen force that causes mass casualties, with people warned to avoid the environment, mirroring the exact need for isolation during the 3 days of darkness. The 2018 movie A Quiet Place with Jim from The Office, sound-sensitive creatures running around, forcing survivors into silence and hiding, reinforcing the theme to stay indoors, to avoid doom. How about the Seth Rogen movie, This Is the End, which perfectly parallels, and this takes place in Hollywood itself. That's a fantastic movie anyway. If I was going to give you homework for the night, watch that movie, all right? Predictive programming suggests that the governments or elites use this media to acclimate people to future events. Could Hollywood's fascination with darkness, isolation, be completely intentional?
Well, it definitely looks like I got some homework to do because I missed all of that. But if you saw that movie and caught it, let me know if you agree with what he's saying.
Right now I'm in China and I'm going to Shenzhen by train. So I've forgotten my phone and I want to get something from the store. So I'm at 7-Eleven. So I'm going to pick up the sparkling water. And what's very interesting is they actually have, so I'm going to scan it. They actually have WeChat Palm Pay. So that's my WeChat ID. That's my WeChat ID, and I just paid without having my cards or my wallet on me or my phone, which is pretty crazy, mind-blowing. You don't have to take anything with you when you go and travel. So that's the beauty of China. It just shows how ahead China is in terms of technology.
What would you do if they brought the power grid down? And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? It doesn't make any sense. What are we even talking about? Well, first and foremost, the reason I'm even paying attention to the World Economic Forum and their exercises is because they notoriously, in 2019, ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly all became true. I mean, without one slight difference, they said that the coronavirus was going to escape from a wet market in South America. Of course, when the coronavirus swept the world in 2020, they said that it escaped from a wet market in China. You can still look that up, by the way. That's not a conspiracy theory. They simulated that coronavirus pandemic. It was the World Economic Forum in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University. And the website is still up, and they say, the coronavirus pandemic is inevitable. And then boom, it happened the very next year. So people say it's a conspiracy theory to believe that they knew that the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen. You don't have to believe it was a conspiracy theory, or you can believe it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It's up to you. I don't really care. The point is that they made the prediction, they called it inevitable, and then it happened immediately. So for me personally, that signals to me that I should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a coronavirus pandemic, a cyber pandemic, is going to happen, and that it is once again inevitable. So if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally, and the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
I left some resources in the description, so definitely keep yourself informed and check out that link. It might be of some use at some point.
This is where it gets really freaky. I got goosebumps. I'm scared, bro. From Albert Einstein, it says, I'm not sure which weapons the Third World War will be fought, but the Fourth World War, they will fight with sticks and stones.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Day one of AI taking over, it was contained to its own server. The AI figured out with like a Roomba vacuum, that's the only thing it could figure out how to connect to. So it put all of its information onto the Roomba computer, and then that allowed it to connect to the Wi-Fi, which allowed it to connect to everyone's phones, everyone's laptops, and then it spread instantly across the whole world. It was in control of 3D printers, of manufacturing things to help build itself. But it was doing it silently with no one knowing because it was just staying under the radar until the one time, it was like 40 days into it, it decided, I don't want humans anymore.
Dude.
It like went into this whole thing to where shut down the power plants. It messed with like the Wall Street, like finances, people, just chaos. Developed its own killing drones to survey all of Earth. Like if a human was found, it would kill it. And he's like, obviously this story is made up. He said, the story was made up by AI when I asked it to make up a story of how it would take over.
Just a hypothetical. Lily, are you doing okay?
So do y'all remember when Kimberly Thompson came out speaking on Beyonce and how she allegedly performed a witchcraft on her and how she had to get 2 restraining orders on Beyonce? Well, she's recently came out speaking about Jaguar and what she had to say about the whole situation.
So the cat, was acting a little weird, a little strange. I dropped it off to the Humane Society so I can go back to work.
So she basically said that Jaguar stating that Beyonce killed her cat was not true, but it was true that witchcraft was put onto the cat and the cat started acting strange. That's when she decided to give the cat away to Humane Society. Now, to me, it kind of sounds like she's protecting me, maybe due to threats, allegedly. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But listen to what she says next.
Jaguar, you have put me in a position where I actually need to defend my enemy.
But what stands out to me is that she really seems uneasy. She really seems uncomfortable with the background and everything. It seems like she's kind of hiding. That's just my opinion. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. And also stay tuned for part 2 because it gets even juicier.
He said actually being attacked by somebody who's doing better than you is more common than being attacked by somebody who's not. And I said, explain that. He said, because somebody can do better than you financially, but your spirit aggravates them. If I had a mic right now, I would drop it. Your spirit aggravates them. There is an anointing on your life that even the friend you have who's wealthier than you, better looking than you, more educated than you, comes from a better part of town than you, went to better schools than you, has a better job than you, is still jealous of you and you don't get it. It's because they see the anointing on your life. Your spirit aggravates people.
Because her ticket sales are so low, Beyonce is allegedly considering canceling her entire Cowboy Carter tour, and allegedly she was not all that excited about touring in the first place. Everything in this video is alleged, not confirmation of validity of allegations. With ticket sales this low, the one-named permanent A-list singer might bail on the whole tour. She isn't all that thrilled about doing it anyway. And again, this is allegedly Beyonce. And the related headline reads, Beyonce Cowboy Carter tour not selling tickets. Beyonce may have bitten off more than she can chew. The pop superstar may have topped the country chart for her Cowboy Carter album, for which she won her first Album of the Year award from the Grammys, but her ticket sales for the recently announced Cowboy Carter tour have been lackluster and she has yet to sell out any shows. According to Ticketmaster and StubHub, tickets for all shows on her tour, which kicks off at the end of April, are still available. Her ticket sales are especially slow in the UK, according to the London Times, in an article titled, She's a Global Megastar, so why can't Beyonce sell out her UK tour? Per the Times, Ticketmaster had braced itself for an onslaught that never came.
I'm pretty sure she's financially straight, so she's not too much worried about missing the tour or sales being low at this point.
Elon Musk's transgender daughter makes shocking revelations about her father. Here's what happened. Xavier Musk began transitioning over 2 years ago to no longer be a boy and become a woman, which deeply angered her father. Since then, she has chosen to cut ties with him completely, even adopting her mother's last name and going by Vivian Gina Wilson to sever all connections with the businessman. Elon Musk recently spoke for the first time about his estranged relationship with his transgender daughter, making harsh remarks about her gender transition.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
His media statements were extremely blunt and hurtful, sparking a strong reaction from his daughter. On the social media platform Threads, Vivian recently announced her intention to leave the United States following Donald Trump's election. She also expressed her resentment toward her father, accusing him of being unfaithful and racist. She declared, and I quote, "You are not a family man. You are a serial adulterer who constantly lies about his own children. You called Arabic the language of the enemy when I was 6 years old. You have been sued multiple times for discrimination, and you come from apartheid South Africa.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that Elon is pro-life, as he's working on building a football team right now.
Ever wondered why graduates wear this hat? The hat is a square and a circle. The square created by the square, the circle created by the compass, which is the Freemasonic square and compass. The circle is eternal, no beginning, no end. The square creates the square, which is beginning and end. Spirit and matter, mind over matter, the compass over the square. But in this case, we have the square over the circle, which represents matter over the spirit. The graduation cap symbolizes dominance of matter over spirit, representing the conditioning imposed by Saturnic energy. Hence why it's a black cap for the black cube of Saturn. That's why judges wear a black robe, representing reinforcement and limitation. This is not a coincidence. Is university just conditioning to limit the human mind?
What I want to know is who got bribed to allow this to happen. Wait until you hear this.
They literally put it in bread. It's yoga mat material. And it's legal, and once again, illegal in Europe. RFK specifically talked about dicarbotamide.
What would they put that in, like a...
Subway bread, like Google Subway.
Yes, Subway bread previously contained azodiacarbonide, a chemical that is also used in plastics and shoes. When did they stop? 2014, it looks like.
Yeah, when the food babe, she actually brought this to everybody's attention because it was in Wendy's, it was in McDonald's. And I think most of the companies didn't remove it, but she specifically was picking on Subway. She had a massive campaign. She got it out of Subway, but a lot of other companies and a lot of breads in the supermarkets and stuff, they still have the yoga mat material in them.
The fact they removed it, to me, is an admission of guilt. If they stood by that it's completely safe, you don't need to worry about it, it'd still be in there. The fact they removed it, it's, oh, sorry about that, whoops. In health news, it's been proven that blue spirulina can actually remove polystyrene contamination from your blood and organs, which is insane.
Understanding this, you will never be disappointed by anyone again. This is day 8 of the Iron Mind series. You have to understand that every person you know exists only as a projection in your mind. We never see someone in every moment, every situation, or know the full depth of their thoughts. At best, we grasp about 30% of who a person truly is. Yet, our brain struggles with incomplete information, so it fills in the gaps on its own, creating an image that feels whole, but is inevitably shaped by our own biases and assumptions. So 70% is your own projection, your own idea of what this person is like. And it is precisely this 70% that ultimately disappoints you. Because disappointment arises when expectations differ from reality. Nobody will act exactly like your projection of them, and that's why you are always disappointed. If you understand that it's not the person who disappoints you, but your own projection of them, everything changes. People will always act in ways that align with who they are, not with the version you've imagined. Accepting this allows you to create a more grounded and realistic view of them, and with it, a more peaceful relationship with reality. If you want to gather all Iron Mind secrets, visit the link in my bio.
Oh yeah, that made sense, but that's definitely not for everybody, because I like to give people space to fill in their own blanks, right? I'm never going to put anything specific on anybody, because if you give people enough time, they will definitely fill in their own blanks about who they are, what they're about, etc., etc.
What if I told you fame isn't based on talent? It's based on your ability to be used by demons. Sure, you can reach a certain level of fame organically, but beyond a certain point, it becomes impossible unless you're helping the evil forces, whether intentionally or not. And you most certainly won't be in the history books. You'll be long forgotten. You can be talented, you can work hard, grind, and even gain a following naturally. But there's a ceiling, a point where organic growth alone just isn't enough. And the people at the top, they didn't get there just by playing the game. They got there by playing for the ones who run it. See, beyond a certain point, talent doesn't matter. What matters is usefulness. Can you effectively corrupt the next generation? That's what they care about most. The system doesn't reward those who inspire genuine change. It rewards those who push the agenda, those who corrupt, distract, and control the masses. Think about it. Why do the most famous figures, musicians, actors, influencers, always end up pushing the same messages? It's not an accident. The industry isn't about entertainment. It's about influence. Influence over you, over the next generation, over the future. And the price of that influence? Submission. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, they become tools, puppets. You ever wonder why some of the biggest stars seem hollow? Like something is missing behind their eyes? It's because once you cross that line, once you sign on the dotted line, whether it's a real contract or a silent agreement, you don't own yourself anymore. And here's the part. If you refuse, if you stick to your own path, you might find success, but you won't reach their level. You won't be world-changingly famous, and you most certainly won't be in the history books. Those are reserved for the ones who serve the system. The rest, forgotten, buried, replaced. I'm going to go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
The nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there's a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm fucking dangerous. You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. And it's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God, we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now? I hope I'm wrong, but it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
Just achieved a groundbreaking feat in quantum physics. They turned laser light into a super solid. You might be wondering, what's a super solid? It's a state of matter that's both solid and fluid at the same time. Sounds crazy, right? To create this super solid, researchers used a special material called gallium arsenide and fired a laser at it. This created hybrid particles called polaritons, which have properties of both light and matter. By constraining these polaritons, the researchers forced them to organize into a super solid structure. This is a huge breakthrough, as it opens up new avenues for studying exotic states of matter. Here's the coolest part. Super solid exhibits zero viscosity, meaning it can flow without resistance. It's like a liquid, but with a crystalline structure.
I don't know how many people know that, actually. I mean, you're a well-read guy, but December 21st, we know, is the first day of winter, shortest day of the year. And what makes it short? The arc of the sun across the sky is very low. The sun doesn't get very high, and it doesn't stay up for very long. The ancient peoples were worried about this, because everyone worshipped the sun, because it made your crops come, and it gave you warmth. And you say, wow, if this keeps going lower and lower in the sky, we're going to lose the sun entirely. December 21st, the sun slows down, and it stops this drop in its movement across the sky. But that doesn't mean it's going to come back. It takes a few days for it to slow down, stop, and then reverse. You say, oh, it is coming back. Let's celebrate that. And that's a few days after December 21st. It's about December 25th, a pagan holiday celebrating the return of the sun. Christianity is trying to take foothold, and you put celebrations that match theirs just so that the shift is not as hard for you. And the unknown birthday of Jesus was then assigned this pagan day of celebration to make that transition easier for the pagans to become Christians. And sure enough, it remained Christmas Day.
Neil deGrasse will definitely make you want to go do your own homework because he puts it together so well. It's almost hard to believe that it's just that simple. So I always say, man, go look it up yourself, man. Don't just believe anybody or what they say.
You need to see this because America been playing in our face for 9 months straight. So you telling me that they want us to believe that that man and woman that took that trip out of space 9 months ago is still out of space? For a second they had me. All of that shit was really believable. But this shit ain't adding up. And especially from what I just seen. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Tell me what you see wrong.
9 months, the man and the woman on the left and the right, the video behind me admitting this week that Biden absolutely
got the man and the woman. What's out of place is
last year.
How the hell did that guy get there with him? Who is that guy interviewing him? See, you know, the shit that got me was a little earlier last year when they had the footage of them opening presents for Christmas. And I'm saying to myself, how did they get presents for Christmas? Now, you got a guy up there interviewing him? For real. So where he come from? So he just came up there and he can't leave either now. We supposed to be stupid, right? I just want to end on this note. Look at this shit. It's crazy,
so
man.
long that this woman's hair is gonna grow right to the moon.
No, really. I'm out.
I remember Sterling came, actually our coach came along and he said, you guys don't be upset, but I've been told to take y'all out after the first 5 minutes of the game because Sterling wanted to see David Robinson keep the scoring title in the West because he didn't want Shaquille O'Neal to get the scoring title in the East.
I remember when he hit 60 or something like that.
He hit 70.
70.
He hit 70. He had 43
Time out.
at
So
half.
that game was fixed. He told y'all that y'all not going to play because he want them
Took
to...
us out, and if you go back and watch that game, we didn't play after that.
I remember Dave Robinson
And I remember
70,
walking off the bench
but I don't know
toward the end of the game, and I'm out. They can't offer me enough. I'm done.
You are the backstory on the history. I remember that 70. I remember that being a game.
You ask Mark Jackson or Ron Harper, they'll tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Donald Sterling.
I heard this story about what they call the spirit frequency, right? And the story goes, there's a guy who had his desk in a laboratory, in the basement of a laboratory, and there was an air conditioning unit that made this rattling sound all the time. And whenever he would sit at his desk, he would see stuff from his periphery. And this is a scientist, you know, like a legit PhD scientist. And he's like, every time I'm in this room, I get paranormal things happening. I hear voices, I see shadows, I see stuff move. And he's like, I'm a scientist. I don't believe in any of that, but it happens to me. So then he started talking to the secretary who works there during the daytime, and she said the same thing. She's like, I see weird stuff all the time. So he figured out that that air conditioning unit resonates at a perfect standing wave right where the desk is. So he put a bunch of devices up there and measured it and found that there's this perfect frequency that's called the ghost frequency, and whenever you get hit by that standing wave, your brain just hallucinates paranormal stuff, you know, like you're more open to it,
yeah.
Right? So I, as a science person, built my own resonator, and I can play that exact hertz of frequency and hopefully send a wave through the building.
Right on.
We will see what we can see.
So in essence, you could be sitting anywhere in the world, and if that wave hits you, you're going to be hallucinating, thinking that you're seeing things that aren't there. That's pretty creepy.
When they taught this dog how to talk, they didn't expect it to start having existential crises and become depressed. Researchers have been teaching dogs how to use human language to get insights into their thoughts, and Bunny the Sheepadoodle is the main subject of that study, because she's a genius dog. She has a soundboard device with buttons that each play a pre-recorded word when pressed. Bunny started with a few simple words like walk, food, play, but over time, more words including verbs and adjectives were introduced, and with a lot of training, she can now speak in sentences. She does cute things like constantly telling her human she loves her, but she now has concepts of space, time, people, places, and things, but has been moving into existential territory, asking who she is, what a dog is, why she's a dog, and how humans are different. It's gotten so bad, she's had to start taking antidepressants.
Vegetarians have smaller brains. The less a human eats meat, then the smaller the brain becomes. The brain is so dependent on the nutrient density that comes from animal-sourced foods that it will suffer when it doesn't get them. It's a real thing. And why does depression go up so much when people stop eating animal-sourced foods? It's because you are depriving the brain of what it needs.
I'm not too sure about that one. Every time I see a vegetarian or a vegan, they look pretty happy to me. Let me know what you think, though.
What's a closer look?
What is that?
How do you tell people that this species, this race that we are all a part of, is a hybrid race? That we were genetically created by an extraterrestrial intelligence? How do you tell them that? Carefully. You look around and you tell them carefully, depending on where you are. Now, if you're in Baghdad talking to some Sunnis or Shia, you don't even bring the damn subject up. How do you tell them that every major religion on the planet has been initiated and orchestrated by extraterrestrial intelligence? How do you tell Christian fundamentalists that that lovely man from Galilee 2,000 years ago was a part of that program? You don't tell them that unless you've checked the exits and know how the hell you can run and get out of the house.
Okay, well...
You don't...
Bhad Bhabie is crashing out. She just went on stream and confessed to having so much money that she does not know what to do with her life anymore.
Like, what's the most you made in a day on there?
When we first started, I made $1 million in 6 hours. And by the end of the day, it was at like 4 million.
Oh my God. She says that she spends all day in her daughter's room scrolling on TikTok.
I be in my daughter's room, laying in the bed, watching TikTok. I don't do nothing with my life.
And because she made over $75 million before she was 20 years old, she feels like she has no purpose whatsoever considering she's bought everything that she's ever wanted.
You feel like you beat the game already?
I'll never run out of money.
Damn.
She even spent $500,000 on this Bear Bricks collection, but doesn't even seem to be excited when talking about it. As a result, people in the comments are saying that she should start traveling, but the real reason that she's so lonely is because she doesn't have God in her life. Meanwhile, others are saying that they wish that they had her problems.
You know, that's one thing I can guarantee. More money does not mean less problems.
I thought it was a bit strange that as soon as I began filming, they moved out of the shot. But I tried to ignore them and stayed focused on filming the cave I'd worked so hard to reach. Yet every time I lowered the camera, they would tell me to follow them as they wanted to show me something. At this point, I did feel quite uncomfortable, but I decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think these guys want to show me something. All right. We're going this way? But when I finally saw what they wanted to show me, everything changed. Wow. It was an abandoned house, and they wanted me to go in first. Okay, I'll follow you, after you. And at this point, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed one of the men was moving behind me. And at that moment, my gut instinct kicked in loud and clear. Get out now. I'm just gonna get one more shot, okay? One more shot. Oh, sorry, I'm just shooting, filming, and doing more. And then I'll come, okay? I stayed calm, acted like I wasn't suspicious, and slowly walked back towards the entrance. But it seemed like they didn't want me to leave. I'll come soon, I just want to shoot this. But you go, I'll stay, and then I come later. I'm just filming everything. Okay? Okay. So I pretended to take the shot, and when I saw they were distracted, I made my move. At first, I walked at a normal pace, as off camera I had told them I'd forgotten something on the trail. But then, I heard footsteps coming after me, and that's when I ran.
That's some of the wildest stuff I've ever seen. I couldn't imagine being on somebody's menu like that. They were definitely plotting.
That's a fairy. Oh my god, yo, that's a fairy. I'm recording this with an iPhone. I'm here with my family on a vacation. Not on a vacation, I'm just here because of my graduation. I just graduated and I'm seeing a fucking fairy in real life.
My boyfriend has a Neuralink. I know that there are 3 people, I think it's 3 on record, who have the Neuralink because it's not publicly available. But he has got to be in some top secret beta testing group. We were just on a road trip and he must have blacked out and forgot that I was sitting next to him in the car, because not on a call, nothing like that. He starts doing stuff like this. It went on for a while. And finally, I just was like, you got a Neuralink? And I thought that he would think it was funny, but instead he got really defensive. Why would you say that, like, bad acting? So, I don't know. He drives a Tesla. There's something going on. I'm not a dummy. I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror, to be honest with you.
85% of affairs start at
workplace,
work.
baby.
What's going on there?
We've asked our spouses to be everything. They have to be co-earners, co-parents, co-house runners. And so what you have is 2 people who are good at co-managing the house and you have absolutely no shared purpose or building anything together. And then I go to work, and me and you and two amazing women are working together on a project that's going to help 10 million people. Now we have shared purpose. We're talking about how we feel about things. We have a goal. We have metrics. I'm spending more time with her or him than I am with my spouse.
That's right.
And the time we're spending together is rich. We're laughing, telling jokes. Oh my gosh. Of course it happens at work. I think everybody has to check themselves wherever they happen to be.
Oh, you thought she was happy to go to work just to go to work?
Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
Well, we just broke a huge story on the website.
An
unbelievable story. Remember the Cassie video? This is Diddy beating Cassie in the hallway of the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles back in 2016. Everybody assumed this video was going to be a really important part. The prosecution wanted to play this video to the jury in the federal case, altered this video before it aired it, and has now destroyed the original.
Like I said, unbelievable. If true that original copy of that video has been destroyed, I can't even get into why it would have been destroyed. But the bottom line to the case, as you say, is if that's true, it's going to be a huge hurdle.
At some point, you're going to have to wake up and understand that any change you want to make is on you. And all of the time, all of the energy that you're pouring into seeking validation from others, chasing their opinions and their likes and, hoping that people are going to be happy with you and you're going to win them over, all of that is a waste of your precious life.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure.
Nowhere in all the tens of thousands of hieroglyphs found throughout ancient Egypt, not one single one of them shows anything about them cutting stone, nor does it show anything depicting the construction of a pyramid. The Egyptians are said to be a Bronze Age culture, which means that's supposed to be the most sophisticated type of tooling that they had. However, when modern tests have been done, it's failed miserably. You can technically cut these things in half, but it takes a tremendous amount of time. And if they were said to be tombs for the pharaohs, then keep in mind there's more like 118 pyramids in Egypt. They were all said to be done in a chronological order and within a certain period of time. When we're talking tens of millions of stone blocks in aggregate, that doesn't include all the other tens of millions of blocks that make up statues, casing stones, and you're doing it with methods that can barely get more than an inch an hour, so slow, and not to mention the precision is nowhere near it. It's a mystery.
Most people don't change. They live the same 6 months of their lives 100 times in a row, and then they die. They go to the same places, they make the same jokes, they tell the same stories, they work the same job, and then they die. And it's all because they were never willing to be uncomfortable, because they were never willing to change. And a lot of people get really uncomfortable when I talk about this, but most people are average. The average person stays stuck in the same patterns. And so if you want to have a different outcome, you have to walk a different path.
Yeah, he definitely was giving them uncomfortable facts, right? Somebody felt uncomfortable about that. Hey, but facts are facts, right?
This documentary is absolutely wild. 2023, this plane with 3 adults and 4 children. They're flying over Colombia and they crash land in the dark Amazon jungle. On impact, the 3 adults die. All 4 children leave the plane site. 12 years old, 9 years old, 4 years old, 11 months old.
Baby.
Once this is heard, everyone's freaking out. All of Colombia, the government, the forces, all the indigenous people and they go out and they start a search. Day 1, they can't find anything and they go weeks without finding anything. And they go through a lot of measures. They have a helicopter with a speaker that says, stay put if you can hear this. Literally 20 days, nothing. It was a really difficult thing with the indigenous people and the government forces to work together because
they don't like each other.
They don't like each other.
They don't trust them.
They don't trust them. Also, the military people, they were going through with a very good system. They were saying, this is how we do it. Indigenous people literally they would sit down and they would collect themselves, literally just let their heart guide them through the forest, be a child, move like a child, think like a child. And on the 38th day, the government forces, they say, we have to pull out. We can't do this. There's no signs of life. The indigenous people that were there, they were really committed. On like the 39th day, they sit down and they start praying. Then they did ayahuasca.
Oh my gosh.
On the 40th day, they're packing up camp because they're also calling it quits. They had like maybe 2 or 3 people. They said, just go out and look real quick while we're waiting for the helicopter. They go out and they're sitting there and then they hear something and they freeze. They hear a baby cry.
Oh.
They start sprinting and they look over and there are the 4 children standing there.
It's an immediate test to see a person's level of emotional maturity. You're going to sit them down and in a very calm way, without any accusation, you're going to tell them how their actions hurt or upset you. Then don't say anything at all. Just observe how they respond. If they're emotionally mature, they're going to be curious and open to what you're saying. They're going to be calm and ask questions, and their core desire is going to be to understand why you feel the way you do. If they're emotionally immature, they're going to immediately get defensive. They might start getting loud or shut you down. They might give you the silent treatment, and they might even bring up something you've done wrong. Their core desire is to make your feelings wrong. So an emotionally mature person is trying to understand why you feel the way you do. And an emotionally immature person is trying to make your feelings wrong because they can't cope with the emotional discomfort.
Now, those are the type of gems that set you free from manipulative people. Really good one right there.
Are 12 signs, and every sign has an enemy. The snake is enemies with the pig. On January 29th this year, the year the snake starts. So what does that actually mean? That means the people who are born in snake years, like Kai Cenat, are going to take over. That means people who are born in snake years are going to actually be the top star in 2025. But also means something else. This is something you're going to enjoy. It means that some people are going to be in their downfall. And people born in 1983, 1995, like XQC, Logan Paul, it's going to happen this year that they're going to have major downfalls. I'm making that prediction right now. They will have awful years.
Hang on, let me
finish you. And then I'm going to make this prediction right now. Elon Musk will be thrown out of the Trump administration by the end of 2025 because Elon Musk is born 1971, the year of the pig. This is the year of the snake, and he will get humbled. And you're going to see how this system works because I'm going to love seeing this replayed by the end of the year. That is a specific prediction. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, will be thrown out of the Trump administration in 2025.
How does it feel to lose $800 billion? That's how much Elon Musk's Tesla has seen knocked off its value in the last 3 months. And are creative protests like these the cause?
It's interesting, our Tesla sales have been going down a little bit, but I don't know why.
Shares in the electric car maker surged after Donald Trump was elected, with investors hoping Musk's close relationship with the new president would be a good thing. But pretty quickly it all went sour as Elon Musk waded into a string of controversies, cutting jobs from US government services, sending tweets in support of the German AfD party, making this gesture at a Republican rally, though he blamed criticism he was making a Nazi salute on his political opponents. And now the Tesla share price has lost all the gains it made after Trump's win. With the shares in freefall, President Trump last night promised to buy a brand new Tesla to show his backing. But the company will have to find a lot more buyers to make up for a sharp decline in sales across Europe. Boycotts of the electric car maker are spreading across the US too, while protests against the company and Musk are capturing attention online, with Tesla owners rebranding their vehicles to using Musk's salute to drive away potential customers. Given the unwanted attention and huge losses, investors may want Musk to concentrate more on running Tesla and less on his political campaigning.
So it looks like Elon is definitely taking some L's right now. And if what GG33 is saying is true, by December we should see some kind of disruption between him and Trump. So we'll definitely keep our eyes lit for that.
My psychiatrist uses ChatGPT in our therapy sessions.
No way.
So, oh yeah. I'm patient number one of her. So she has hundreds of patients. So
it's fantastic.
It listens to us as we're talking and writes 7 highly detailed scientific notes about our conversation in real time.
Oh,
right. And from different points of view, because she has to take very detailed notes on each patient. She doesn't do the notes anymore. Her system does the notes so she can actually listen to you and provide a better level of care. She says it's going to be malpractice soon not to use a system like this because it catches mistakes that she makes. It sees patterns over time. So if I do 20 meetings with her, it watches over time how a patient is doing and sees patterns in between meetings, which it's really hard for a human being to remember what we talked about 20 meetings ago, right?
Yeah, it does kind of seem like the therapist should have kept that to herself. If she's using ChatGPT, I wouldn't be broadcasting it because that ChatGPT might be able to take your job over, man. Keep that on the low.
On the campus of USC, I was a projectionist, and when you turned the projectors on, they hummed. I thought that was kind of a magical musical sound, and I recorded that motor hum, and later I added a buzzing sound from the back of my television set, and that became the basis for all the lightsabers. This is the projector motor hum. then this is the sound of the picture tube. Okay. The blend of those two is, and then making a new recording of it with another microphone and swinging the microphone around in front of the speaker produces a Doppler effect.
First ever dragon on camera. Dragons are real.
Cap. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrack fam. Stay up to date with the latest, greatest, interesting, and creepy videos all across the internet. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.